Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel. Thank you for the likes, subscribes, comments, love and your energy in just being here and intention to collectively shift out of narcissistic abuse cycles, raise and elevate the consciousness on the planet so that we actually reset this paradigm, go on and live our most abundant, beautiful lives, right? And ultimately raise awareness and turn down the impact of this distortion. And I want to tell you a couple of things before I start on this topic, because this is really important. Yeah. And I appreciate you being here. And if I see a comment and it seems like I don't agree with you, if you could just have the ability to join me in a leading edge conversation where we all get to raise our consciousness, yeah, it will be really good for all of us. I'll tell you why. It was easier for me when I was coaching people who were already living good lives integrate how to make good people extraordinary on the planet, right? By helping them with their consciousness, by, you know, their strategy, their new ideas, their fulfillment in life. But when we take people from, I'd say, the worst states of trauma, of PTSD, of feeling trapped, of being victimized in life, to bring you into abundance, which I can do with you, and I know I can, and pretty fast, yeah? This is a whole different challenge. It took a lot of work. While I'm sharing this conversation with you, I'm going to elevate all of our consciousness, and it's going to stretch me as a leader, because I'm going to hear comments like what I'm going to talk about right now, and it's not to single someone out, it's to raise the awareness, yeah? So I'm going to have to become a better leader in order to have a conversation where we're dealing with things that are very unconscious on the planet. Not just the narcissist is unconscious, but the whole of society is enabling this because of false concepts. We're a society that has tolerated things that are intolerable to humanity. And we've all got to be much more emotionally intelligent, compassionate to each other, empathetic and safe. Right? We can't be part of the problem anymore, giving our energy to narcissists, but also having certain conditioned attitudes that is reinforcing this problem, right? So I'm not always going to agree with you, yeah? But that doesn't mean that you can't stand in your truth, and I can have my truth, and we can be open to raising our collective consciousness. I can be open to improving myself as a leader to be able to communicate in a way that you can hear, and we can still disagree, but there are things that need to be said. Yeah? So narcissists victimize anyone they target. And the reason I want to talk about this is because there was a comment, and I'm not, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being vulnerable. Please don't be scared, because whatever you say, it's going to show me where people are at. But there is this idea, because what was said in that comment was it's only a weak, vulnerable woman who would get caught up. And that is just not the case. I was very successful. I was a board director outside. When I left my job, I was a director advisor to major corporations and brands. I didn't look like a weak, vulnerable woman. I thought I'd healed my childhood trauma. I had my own businesses. I traveled the world. I was very independent and what most people would consider strong. But I don't think needing to be alive should mean you can't be vulnerable and strong. There are many human beings on this planet that are not built to be strong, and they're really good members of our society with their empathy and their kindness, and requiring us to all be warriors to survive is unacceptable. Yeah, and there are some personality types that are just not built that way. I was a warrior and I was torn to shreds, absolute shreds. I had more of what people would think of, right, as confidence and success than most human beings. So if I can be completely annihilated, I promise you, this has got nothing to do with being vulnerable and weak, but even if it did, it's still evil and unacceptable. We're not here to judge people. And why have we got this condemnation rather than empathy for people who have been through hell? If someone is more tender, is more vulnerable, shouldn't we be supporting them, not judging them as though that's you know, what are these messages we're hearing in songs and music and our society? If someone is a little bit more fragile, we should be putting our arms around that person and giving them some help. Not telling them to man up. Not everyone's got the capacity to. It took everything I had, and I was trained in personal development. I was already pretty emotionally intelligent and very courageous, really. You know what I mean? That is not something that everyone on the planet is needing to do. And goodness me, if that is what's required to survive in our world, what is happening? I want to make something very clear. This has got nothing to do with being strong or weak. or vulnerable or not, but it also shouldn't have to. You get to be where you are, and you don't get to be a victim to any of this shit or judged by people as weak or something that you're not. You're a human being doing your best that deserves to be loved and cared for by the community, by society. And if you get hurt unfairly by abusive others, not victim shamed in any way. Right? So I can't tolerate that here, but I know it comes from ignorance and unconsciousness. I want to also let you know that you'd be surprised about some of both sides of this coin. There are people on this planet who are not built to be able to be that strong, what you would think of as strong, but they had enormous love and enormous care, and they have the right to be on this planet as much as everyone else, and they do not need to be forced into being warriors or trapped in suffering for the rest of their lives because of it. There are other people that I've worked with that have held very high ranking positions, have for example, one lady I know got into a marriage, both high ranking attorneys, looked like the love bombing stage was perfect. Yeah, marriage made in heaven. They were the flavour of the month. Everyone looked up to them. These two very bright, very dazzling, very attractive individuals. He seemed like the perfect match. Guess what happens after they get married? She's now the head head attorney for a very, very famous corporation. He starts beating the shit out of her. His narcissism starts showing up. The love bomb has worked off. But guess what? She is too ashamed because she's the strong woman, right? She's holding this big position. Well, she can't admit that he's beating the crap out of her, and everyone expects this perfect image. It works both ways. So what are you saying? You know, what is this idea we have? And then if someone else is more vulnerable because they haven't got the strength of a warrior, why isn't it not even worse? Because they're not even equipped. What are we judging? What are we shaming? What is the point? Why aren't we looking at the real issue, which is there's evil on the planet, they are demons on the planet, and the less tolerance we have for it, the better. And the more we're shining lights on people who have got empathy and humanity and not doing the right thing, which is not to start shaming and judging them and keep telling them what's wrong with them, right? But shining the light on the thing that's the cause of this problem, victimizing anyone. Doesn't matter what class you are, doesn't matter what age, what financial position you're in, or however strong or weak you are, whatever the fuck that means. It means nothing. We're different, all of us. We're all different. Yeah, it's multidimensional why it happens. It's nothing to do with just your childhood, nothing to do with just your childhood wounds. There are plenty of people who are timid and what you think of as more frail, and they're in loving partnerships. It's to do with evil on the planet. Can we please give this stuff a break? And please think about this. Because we are being conditioned to be contemptuous and judgmental to people who are victimized. Yeah? When you're victimized, you're targeted. And there's nothing you can do. That amount of bullying put at you, depending on the level of it, some of what I had was extraordinary, right? There's no one that can get through that easily. It's no one that can get through that easily. But if you are a more timid spirit, there is a room for you on this planet, and we should not be expecting you to just man up. We should be much kinder. Where's the empathy on the planet? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? Because until it happens to you, you won't understand it. So people with these ideas I don't know if they actually know what narcissism is. Because you can't imagine it until you go through it. The woman I'm telling you about, I couldn't have imagined how bad it could be. I knew I had abusive parents. I didn't know what a narcissist was. Yeah? And it's shocking to people who knew me before. Yeah? Because they never knew me as a victim of anything. Yeah? You're not a victim, I'm not a victim, you're victimized. It's different. You know, it doesn't really matter, it's just semantics. But like, when you've been victimized, you've been targeted. You deserve the right to live your life and be where you are with it. And that is not, then you get blamed for this abuse. Why are you in therapy talking about what's wrong with you without saying this is unacceptable on the planet, and actually I get to be respected and self-partnered and honoured in who I am and where I am right now. You didn't come in with a recipe that God said this people need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect at all. At all. And the minute we can stop saying what's wrong with people, rather than looking at the true cause of this problem, that we should be better. Yeah, that's part of the issue. We think we should be better than this. We should be more spiritual. We should be more intelligent. It's got nothing to do with, I am an example of it. I was successful. I was intelligent. I was always spiritual. You know what I mean? I was always everything you can see in me now, and I got ripped to shreds. So please tell me who is not susceptible to these demons? And can we please give this a break? If you see someone who's weak, give them compassion. Give them the compassion you would pray for if you were in their shoes, because it is an arrogance on this planet to think that you are beyond becoming anything that anyone else could go through. It is easy to be in your ivory tower thinking you're so strong and got all the men songs of like what it means to be powerful and a strong person. But trust me, these things do not come with the light shine on them. They come in disguise. And before you know it, you've bought into something that's now ripping you apart from the inside out that you didn't see coming. That's how it happens, not because people are weak, because people are people. And if you manipulate someone's emotions, everyone hurts. I've spoken to people who've been in the military, and a lot of them have said that they preferred it's not keeping score, but the physical abuse to the emotional and mental torture, because guess what? After you heal a physical pain, you heal. An emotional and mental injury can last the rest of your life and affect the quality of everything you do. Some people will never get over the trauma of this kind of abuse because of the flashbacks, because of the memories, if they don't get to heal. I mean, you will heal if you're here. You will definitely heal if you're here, because I've been through the mental abuse, the sexual abuse, you know what I mean? And I've worked with a lot of different people through that. The shame of what you've done, the shame of what's been done to you, I can help you move that. But listen, we've got to stop shaming people. We've got to stop judging people. There is nothing spiritual in that. It's ignorant. And if anyone thinks that they're beyond these demons, guess what? The shinier you are, the cleverer, the stronger they think you are, the more fun it is for some of them to bring you down. And I've met those ones. And it was like watching someone. I mean, it was the most disgusting thing I'd seen when I had a business partner out here, very intelligent man, very well known. And, you know, the fact that he could, I didn't see it coming at the time. He was the guy I told you, had my dad's name in reverse. I didn't know at the time he had a nickname. But I mean, the look on his face when he had torn me to shreds, cut me out of all the business deals. I was now in poverty. I'd lost my house in Newport Beach, California, right where I was living. The smile on his face when he'd taken away my nice lifestyle, and now I was in an RV with him in a car park that he used to leave me in for days in the cold. Yeah, the smile on his face. Don't think you're ever above a demon targeting you. And if you see someone, please lose your assumptions, because you can't imagine what some people are capable of. Yeah? Why can't we just love people for where they are? Why? There's no reason any human on this planet should have to be so strong to deal with anything. Why can't we accept that some of us, why is it better to be strong? It's not. Sometimes, you know, people who are so strong aren't the people we need sometimes to keep our communities together, to show us something else. Yeah, it's those gentle spirits that actually give us a lot of joy and magic in our life. We all have a part here. None of us are better than the other. We're equal in our power, but we're different in our abilities, in our strengths, in our different things. So why are we judging what's right, what's good, what's better than the other? It's not better to be stronger or weaker. It's just an expression of what we're judging that doesn't make any sense, because the people you think are weak are sometimes way stronger than you at loving. Yeah, and it takes strength to love, and kinder. We've all got differences we can learn from, but while we are swimming around in a goldfish bowl, trying to fix ourselves, blame ourselves, and then looking at other people with negative judgment because we've got an assumption of cause and effect, why it happened to them, that most of the time is extremely ignorant, just unconscious, right? We've got a better job to do at raising our consciousness. We've got to start looking at the right problem, yeah? Not the people who are victimized by it, yeah? I hope that makes sense, my loves. Any comments, let me know. Lots of love. I'll speak to you soon.